Welcome to the Life Self-Mastery Podcast, where we bring in entrepreneurs who have created online businesses and improved their lifestyles. Here's your host, Rohit Malhotra.
Hi everyone, I'm Rohit from lifestylemastery.com, and today I'm excited to have Tom Libelt, who runs Smart Brand Marketing and We Market online courses. Tom has published more than 5,000 Kindle books. He's built an online course marketing business, owned a coffee shop, a retail shop, a record label, and released 2 albums with 5 hits on top 10 Polish radio. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, I wanted to know about your journey. You've done a lot of different things. How did the entrepreneur bug happen to you?
It's hard to pinpoint where exactly it started, but I guess, when I was little, like all the games that I kind of made up when I was very small, it was all to do with money and selling and buying. And I don't know, it was just something there. I've always, I just knew it in my backbone that I'm going to have a business. And it was just some people know they're going to have some kind of a career or they have a skill. And it was just something I've always had. I've never really thought about it. It wasn't like it was a choice. I felt like it was already scripted for me.
Awesome. So, you paid into, publishing business and online courses. So how did the start in online marketing start for you?
When I had a coffee shop, I actually don't drink coffee, so I just bought it. It was pretty big. It was the size of a Starbucks and a half. It was a big coffee shop. And I had a partnership. It wasn't working out, and I sold my share of the coffee shop. And I was sitting on some money, just bored. And I've found some stuff on the internet. People building AdSense sites, and the premise was that this guy that I was reading, he would go to places like Walmart and Target, just look for different products, and then do some keyword research, and if it fit, he would just make a website about that product. So it was very basic and sort of like a quick money play, but we built up around 100, 150 websites within a few months because I hired the team really quick. And soon thereafter, we had maybe 400 or 500 websites making pretty good money. And that was the first online business. It was actually pretty easy, to scale. Not a long-term business, that one, but, once you learn how to make some money online, then you're just like, oh, okay. Now we just got to figure out how to do it properly.
Right. And when did you, start the coffee shop and the other businesses? Did you work in a corporate job for some time, or, just out of college, you started working on these things?
So my first business was around 16 years old. I had a record store with 2 older guys because I couldn't set up my own business at that time. So I ran that. After that, I went to school for engineering. I was always into music. I was DJing back around the record store too. So I did that. Then I moved from the college where I did the engineering degree to New York, and I worked at record labels. They were shutting down, so I started doing music on my own, created my own group and my own label. And at the same time, I wanted to practice selling, so I started getting corporate jobs and worked at maybe 7 or 8 of them, I think. So what I did was I would get hired, I'd get the training, I would hit my goals and quit and move to the next company, right? So I was a horrible sales guy for the company, but I was great at selling. So I just kept on doing that till I figured, I can sell anything at this point, and I moved back to my own business. So after that was the coffee shop. And I didn't actually enjoy that, so I moved into the online space, and it's been mostly online stuff since then.
Got it. And, you published more than 5,000 books. So have you written these books on your own, or you got a couple of writers through which you've, published these books online? So
after the AdSense sites were going pretty strong, I knew how to rank things. So I started my SEO business.
Okay.
And with the SEO business back in those days, I think this was around 2000, maybe 12 or 13. I'm bad with dates, but around that time, blog networks were really popular, right? So we would write blog articles and pay money, and people would post them on their blogs, and there were big companies doing that. So at one point, we were doing maybe 400 or 500 blog posts per month for all the different websites, and they shut down. Google pretty much killed them at one point. And I just had this team of writers that I was like, oh, they're a great team. I don't want to let them go. And I heard about the Kindle business, that was just starting back then. And I said, just write some books. I'll look into it in a few months, see how you're doing, and we'll see what's happening, right? And they pretty much broke even within a few months. And after that, we created a good system. We were pumping out probably 100 books per month, and the team, made a lot of money for me.
Wow. And are you still working on a publishing business?
We actually closed it last year. So we stopped actually working on it. I found it to be distracting and not making as much movement upwards as before. Like we would go, 10x, 3x every year, and last year it was maybe like 0.3. It was getting lower and lower. So I just thought, this is distracting us, and we can make a lot more money in the other businesses if we just focus on them. And they're more long-term, right? So Amazon can't kill my marketing courses business or anything like that. So we just focused last year a lot.
Got it. And, how did you market your Kindle books? Do you have any strategy which you want to share with the listeners which can help them?
So with the books, initially we did do a lot of marketing. So we would, post on Quora and on LinkedIn and do paid ads and, join the book clubs. But later we realized by just putting out a lot of books, Amazon will just do the heavy lifting for us. And sometimes what we would do is we would do them in different niches, and we would create different authors, and we would join the authors. So it would be like a book by two different people that had, a lot of books already, and Amazon would lift those up even more. Plus we did, the SEO stuff and the descriptions and the titles. But yeah, it was pretty basic. It was a numbers game, basically, right? So the 80-20 rule, 20% of the books made the most money. Yeah. But we realized it was actually cheaper for us to write another book than do marketing.
Oh, okay. Got it. And so how did the transition happen to, creating online courses, or do you only market these courses?
So the books were a system. We designed the system. So I didn't actually work on them after that. They just pumped out every month, and I didn't do anything. That was pretty much the same thing with the SEO business. So I've been working on other stuff by myself since I have time, right? And create my own team for different things. One of the things is we filmed a documentary called Your Own Way Out. That took like a year. Then I started creating courses for people, then doing the marketing. The marketing came from a partnerships with a Muay Thai champion. And he just asked me, can you help me create and market my course? And I was like, well, I haven't done the marketing part, but I'll try. That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And, we hit that off. And after that, I did some other courses for some friends and got others working. And now, we have a full stable of clients. Like we're pretty much booked up with that. So it was very organic, we've just worked on things and stuck with it and pivoted at some points. But, it's been a lot of work. The good thing is, having systems with some of your businesses, it'll free you up to do other things. And I think that's key.
No, you're absolutely right. So, what do you think makes a successful online course?
So the main thing with online courses is you need to have a transformation, right? So you need to take someone from point A to point B. For example, right now I'm a business with no social presence, and after 30 days, I will teach you how to get your first 1,000 Instagram followers and maybe monetize them, right? And then you got to put a value on that. So that's the key point. The second one, which is tougher, right, is that positioning, right? Because you can position something in hundreds of different ways, right? The same course, And that's going to have a lot to do with the success. And the third one, which is even tougher than that, is moving the conversation you would have when you're selling to someone in person, moving that online. And that's where I'm seeing most people fail. So the way they would pitch someone face-to-face and the way they pitch someone online is completely different. Like they often just call it in online. The landing pages and everything, they just don't take a person through a actual conversation. It's just like a really poor attempt to sell. It's that's very challenging. I'll tell you that most of the clients I get, this is the number one problem that we have to solve, is how do we fix that funnel, that conversation, so it makes sense to a person that doesn't know you, that's getting dragged into your conversation. How do we show them the problems, the pain points? How do we make them hurt a little bit more? How do we make them seem that you're the only person with your own method that can solve these problems? What's the value of this problem being solved? What are the testimonials and the social proof around that? What are the objections? So you can actually answer those on the sales page. How do we close this person? We got to have a closing. All of this stuff needs to be in the funnel, right? That every step of the way that you would do if you were prospecting, even door to door, or selling something and closing people and following up, that all needs to be put online and in a way that makes sense. And that's very difficult, but that's key.
Yeah, Tom, it really makes a lot of sense because, if somebody is a good copywriter and who's just not trying to sell the course, but it's trying to have a conversation with the user, that can lead to a good amount of sales. So, do you have any suggestions on good copywriting courses or books? And if somebody wants to work on creating their own courses, what suggestion do you have for them?
Well, the number one suggestion is, you need to sell some individually before you try to create a funnel, right? So whether it's just through Facebook or Quora or LinkedIn or to some friends, or, you got to figure out a way to sell a few in person, like in maybe through the phone or actually through email, but have a conversation with someone. So you figure out what this conversation looks like before you try to make a funnel out of it. But when it comes to books, there's one book that creates copywriters these days, and it's called Breakthrough Copywriting. And what I found out is that recently, 90% of all the new copywriters that become copywriters, they just read that book, and now they think they got the skills, right? So by just reading that book, you pretty much got that field covered. And it doesn't mean you're going to be a great copywriter, but most of the new guys are not. But it gives you enough info where you're way ahead of the curve, right? So that's the only book I've noticed makes a huge difference in people's careers fast.
Oh, it's called Breakthrough Copywriting, is it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, got it. And what do you think? What works more, video courses or the textual courses? Because I've seen both the variations.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's all about the transformation and putting a value on it. If you have a very short course, but someone can put like a $1,500 or $2,000 value on it fast, and you sell it for like $300, that big of a discount, it's going to sell. As long as you can make sure that the person actually makes that or has that transformation. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. The length doesn't matter. How you present it, as long as the value is in it, and if they can get it out fast, that's that's key. So even though the information is very important, I'll share this with you, man. Just from my experience, 80% of the success is going to be the marketing. So just having those conversations, those sales conversations, and then moving all that stuff online, and making it very, I guess, easy for a person to come in and buy and see no red flags on the way, right? Because, anyone that's just pushing nonsense copy is putting up a lot of red flags, and someone's like, I don't trust this guy. There's something off. Yeah. So, if you can get that part done, the actual information doesn't matter as much, but you should still give what you promised, because that's going to have a big impact on the word of mouth.
Got it. Makes sense. And, if somebody who's got a couple of people paying for the courses, what suggestion would you have to market that online course so that they can scale it up and maybe, take it to the next level?
Well, once you do sell a couple of them, then you create that funnel. I think if you have a good budget, then you can go straight into Facebook ads, or YouTube ads, or Gmail, or AdWords. It depends on the funnel, and just your topic. But I've seen some clients have success with different ways. Like I have a client that started making lead generational, very short courses on Udemy, and then he would drive traffic from those into his Facebook group and that into his own more expensive course. But what happened is that those Udemy courses are now making $250,000 a year by themselves, right? Yeah. So we are creating his own platform. It's going to be making about 7 figures, but a side effect of that was, he's making a lot of money to just pay for everything else now. Another client, he went the YouTube route, and he's driving all of his traffic from his YouTube videos and making maybe like $10,000 to $12,000 a month now. But we are now about to turn on remarketing, which I think is going to 10x a part of that traffic. So I think on overall might be like 4x, but 10x a big piece of it because he's selling a couple different things. And I think a small piece of that, if we just focus on it, it's going to go very, very high. But yeah, there are webinars too. I know someone selling a $4,500 course on webinars, and he doesn't sell many, but he doesn't need to. So last time we spent, I think it was $600, and he made around $25,000 on that. So it's a huge multiple, right? But it's it's very intensive too. He's got to put a lot of effort into that. It's like an hour and a half, very high level webinar. But yeah, there are different ways of selling it. A lot of this does depend on the niche, So for some people, I would say getting affiliates might make more sense, right? So going on LinkedIn and finding people in the fields that could resell the courses, that can 10x it. I know another person who went that route, but not through LinkedIn, just through making partnerships. And she was able to get Brian Tracy to promote her course, and that, I think, 10x'd her business. So many different ways to go about this,
Got it. And, I want to talk about smart brand marketing and we market online courses. Are they two different platforms?
So smart brand marketing is where I sort of start everything, right? So that's like the umbrella. And all the other services and things are under it. So the SEO service, the marketing courses, whatever else I come up with is always under smart brand marketing. So I have helped people actually create brands and rebrand themselves. But I do mostly other services, and you can find all of them just by going through that website. But I find like that's a good starting point, right? I've done that for a long time, and I just don't want to change. I'm too lazy. I think it would be too much work.
Got it. And we market online courses is pretty self-explanatory. So you help others to promote their online courses. Are you only focusing on online courses or any other information products?
No, we niche down. We're very good at online courses, and I think sometimes it's really good to be great at something, and it makes everything easier. Okay. So we've really focused on that. We find that the agencies that do it all usually do a horrible job with online courses because it's so different than selling jump ropes or services. And we found a good niche, and just by doing only that, we're getting much, much better at it than anyone else.
Yeah, it totally makes sense to focus on one particular product and on one particular niche and focus on that. And I just want to know if you're willing to share the revenue numbers for your brand.
So for January of this year, we're already at mid 5 figures.
Oh, very nice. Okay, and if somebody wants to market the courses, what kind of services and charges you charge?
It really depends. They have to go on wemarketonlinecourses.com and fill out a survey so I know what I'm working with.
Okay.
Then we get on a call. I do a little more research and I figure out what I can do, right? So it could be from just inexpensive coaching. That could be like starting at $800, or it could be doing it all, and that could go into $50,000, $60,000 or more. It just depends on the amount of work we have to do, you know.
Got it. And how big is your team with both the platforms?
We have 14 people.
Got it. Before the chat, we were talking about that you're based out of Chiang Mai. Why did you go to Chiang Mai, and why do you think Chiang Mai is a great place to start a business?
Why Chiang Mai? Chiang Mai is where the old meets the new. That's what the city whispers to me. We have a big group here of people working online, so that always helps. It's the internet's great. The stores have all the food that I want. The restaurants are decent. More coffee shops than in Paris. So a lot of people like that. I don't really drink coffee, but there's a ton of those. We have the mountains around, an hour flight to the beaches. It's a good place. I really enjoy it, at least for most of the year. I still need to leave to Europe and the US to do some other stuff, but for the most part, it's nice. It's good living.
Got it. And is most of your team based out of Chiang Mai?
No, they're in the States and in the Philippines.
Oh, okay. And so, how do you work with the remote team, whom you're not meeting regularly? Any suggestions on that? So
the way I've done it is I put managers in place, right? So for every 5-6 members, I have a manager, and I only deal with the managers and they deal with the team. So it's a very easy setup. I'll speak with them maybe 5-10 minutes per day, and then they communicate everything else with the team. They do the hiring, firing. I have zero to do with any of that, and it makes my life easier.
Got it. And Tom, you worked on a lot of different sort of businesses. How can one know which online business to work on? Because sometimes if somebody's working on a publishing or an e-commerce business, they spend an X amount of time working on that. Like humans have this loss aversion sort of bias. So how to know which online business to work on for somebody who's just starting out of college, or somebody who's just beginning out?
I think how much time or money you put in doesn't matter. That's not a good indicator. The first thing you need to start with is, can you bring value and can you distribute? So what are you selling exactly, and who you are selling it to? You need to figure those things out. In the beginning, you won't know. So you need to rack the shotgun. You need to do a lot of different things. And then as soon as something's working, you need to eliminate everything else. Even if that something's making some money, you got to go all in on something, right? Because that's how you really grow a business. And eventually it's going to stop working. You're going to have to rack the shotgun again, try a couple more things, and then go in again. So it's a cycle process, right? But the main thing people forget is the value and the distribution. And with a lot of businesses such as eBay or Amazon or even Facebook, you got to think about control too. You can't have someone else control a big part of your business and still think you're in business, because they can put you out of business at any moment. So I would also think about control, right? Like, what if Facebook does shut down or shuts down my account? Am I still okay? So this is that whole distribution aspect of it. You need to be in control. Like with Amazon, if you're selling FBA and anything happens, you're out of business. You could be out of a lot of money, right? Because with the inventory, most of my friends in FBA, the inventory is in Amazon at a warehouse in the US. The other part of inventory is on a boat coming from China. Then a third part of the inventory is in a factory in China. So that's 3 times whatever you're selling. That's a huge amount of money. I would think about the control too, because a lot of the businesses I see people getting into, they're very short term. They're not real businesses because there's zero control.
Got it. So let's quickly do the top three. So the top three questions I ask at the end of the interview. So are you ready for that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. So what's your favorite business book?
At the moment, Shoe Dog.
An awesome book. And if you could go back in time when you started working on online businesses, what is the one thing you would have focused on?
One thing I would have focused on when I first started out, I don't know. I don't think I would do anything differently. So just follow my interests. That's what I would have focused on. That's what I did. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything differently. I'm happy where I am.
Got it. And what's your favorite online tool? For example, Gmail, Slack, LinkedIn.
Well, I'll tell you what my not favorite tool is, Skype. I hate that one. Always causing trouble. I think Zoom is starting to become one of my favorite tools. The one we're using now to record this. It seems like we can have 4 or 5 people on this tool and the conversation's still working very well. We do the same thing on Skype because, I do use these tools a lot. And it's dropping out all the time. So I think, Zoom is one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, same here. And, what is the best way people can reach out to you and know more about, We Market online courses, brand and smart marketing?
Just come to Smart Brand Marketing. There's a contact form. You can go into services and look over the case studies. And, if you have a SEO problem or a course marketing problem, you can just follow the services part and just contact me through there. Very easy. Yeah. Plus there's a podcast, a lot of info on that. Just come through. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Awesome. Tom, thank you very much for coming onto the show. I really appreciated speaking to you, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Life Self-Mastery podcast, where we teach you how to start and grow your online business. For more information, visit Rohit's blog at www.lifeselfmastery.com.